Hey guys, what's up? V8 Merc here. Today we're going to be talking about the best SHTF rifle, or what could be the best SHTF rifle. SHTF means shit hits the fan, or there's another term called WROL. That's another acronym I mean, and that means without rule of law. If you were just wondering what those terms mean, and if you happen to just stumble on this video. Specifically, I'll be looking at the SKS today. I'm just going to give some general specifications and some positive and negative viewpoints here. General specs, this is a 7.62 by 39 carbine, or carbine, however you pronounce it. I'd say carbine. It is 20 to 22 inches long. The barrel is 20 to 22 inches long. Overall length of 40 to 44 inches. And those... also the weight, 8.5 to 9 pounds. And those specs are in respect to a woodstock version of it, the original configuration. That's what those numbers are in regards to. This features a bayonet in the front. This is a spike bayonet that this one takes. This is a Chinese model. The Yugoslavian ones have the blade bayonet. It is a magazine-fed gun that takes stripper clips. It's an integral magazine, fixed 10-round magazine, capable of taking AK magazines in certain models, but those are the Chinese ones, very rare, very hard to find, but most commonly you'll find these. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the positives of this rifle. And I got to start off with price. This thing is like $300 to $400 locally in my area. I can walk into a shop and find one hanging on the wall for about just under $400 in really good condition and whatnot. Even almost new. I think I've seen it for $300 to $350 or something like that. And that's about what it costs in my area. It could cost less in your area. It just depends on what part of the country you're in and whatever the seller's willing to sell it to you for. So you'll find prices all over the spectrum. So you can't hold me to the price I'm telling you right now, because that's just in my area. That's how much it is. I heard in Canada that it is really cheap. They're telling me it's like $75 to $150 for theirs. That's what they're saying. Not sure about that, but that's what they're telling me. Next thing would have to be the firepower. For spending $400 on a rifle and you're getting an intermediate 30 caliber rifle in return, that's pretty good. We all know that this round can do a lot of damage, punch through some barriers, and do a lot of damage to the enemy. So price for firepower is really good with this setup. For amount that you're paying out, you're getting a good rifle that can, really knock down some targets and punch through some targets and take care of the business. The caliber that this accepts, 7.62 by 39, is pretty common. It's getting very common in the U.S. A lot of people have the caliber. A lot of people buy the caliber because they have a lot of AK rifles, which is more popular than this one. But you can also find this caliber in your local gun stores. At the local place where I'm at, they have 1,000 rounds of Wolf ammo just sitting around. So they carry bulk ammunition like that too. One thing I put on the positive list that some people may disagree with are clips. Clips, and when I mean clips, I'm talking about the stripper clips that this rifle takes, are easier to conceal and easier to carry with you if you have to go out and you're taking your rifle with you. You can hold a lot more of these clips on you, and they take up less space when you're done using them. And here I got 30 rounds right here, and they take up a little bit of room. Now, if weight is a concern for you, clips are also good because magazines, here I have some AK mags here, these things just empty are really heavy. They have big beefy steel slabs on each side here, and that adds a lot of weight, and it's got this big chunk of steel on the back to lock the mag in and in the front. And this whole area around the front is all beefed up. Very heavy, and it's got all steel body. Overall, it's a pretty heavy magazine. Clips are much lighter and take up less room. Okay, and you can slam through these in 10 rounds. Should be plenty, unless you think you are going to be in a foreign country and there are hordes upon hordes of bad guys converging on your position, then yeah, you might need a 75 round drum at that point. I say clips are pretty good because you can store these in your dump pouch, and you're not worried about losing these, and that's the big plus, I think. Losing and damaging these you wouldn't be worried about, because you can get 100 of these for about $35, and 100 of these will hold 1,000 rounds, and you'll probably carry, I don't know how many. This rig over here can hold about 200 rounds. There's I think 20 pouches here, or there's 10 pouches and 2 can go into each, and you can hold about 200 rounds here just in this, and then you can throw some in your pack. Let me give you a whole view of this. And you can hold about 200 here, and then you can throw a handful of clips, loaded clips in your pack, and you'll have a good amount of ammo on you for less weight. Problem with magazines, I gotta say, are that if you carry 6 to 8 or however many you carry, I think about 6 is what I was thinking would be a standard load. Some people say 9. But if you get this stepped on, if you lose it, something happens to it, gets shot, gets damaged, you're out of luck. You can't use this again. With the clip, if you lost one, hold on, let me get the camera to focus in here. There we go. If you lost one, or if one of these got damaged or bent or something like that, you really wouldn't be too worried about it, because hopefully you purchase enough of these, you'll have a lot of these sitting around, and you could just restock up on these when you go back to your hideout, and you can reclip your ammos, put all your ammo on stripper clips again. That's why I put it in the positive category, but that's just what I'm thinking. All right. So also ammo price. That's the next thing. Ammo price. Pretty inexpensive for 30 caliber intermediate cartridge. You're looking at about 22 to 27 cents for steel cased ammunition, and even some corrosive Yugo surplus ammunition you can find for around those prices. I can't really give you a solid set price, because as time has changed, the prices have really changed. So you could probably find it cheaper. You can also find it for a little bit more than what I'm telling you. But I've purchased it for about 25 cents to 23 cents. 22 to 21 cents is the cheapest I've ever gotten it for, but that was a while ago. So as times change, prices change, so you can't hold me to that price either. So it's fairly inexpensive to stock up on as well. It is an accurate rifle. Some people consider these rifles as DMRs, designated marksman rifles, and which they were used in Vietnam by the enemy, because it is a milled receiver. It's not a stamp receiver like an AK, so it's fairly accurate. Caliber. There's a big caliber debate in saying if this caliber is even accurate at all. Well, I think it's mainly the shooter behind the gun that makes it accurate. But I think it's pretty capable out to about 500 yards. But realistically, you could say up to 300 yards, 400 maybe max, 450 max, something like that. But I think within 300 yards, you'll be set solid. And 400 yards, you could still do some damage, and 500 as well. But can you really see the target at that point? You have to really think about that. Are you going to be engaging people at 400 or 500 yards, when we all know that within well under 200 yards would be a realistic engagement for most people? Very accurate rifle for the caliber, in comparison to an AK and whatnot. Is it reliable? Yeah, I think it's very reliable, but it's maybe not as reliable as the AK. So there are some few things that you probably should research on your own and check those out. It is also known to have a little problem with the firing pin. That is something you don't really have to worry about if you clean your gun. You clean it once, right now, as you're doing this video, as you're watching this video or something like that, you don't have to worry about it for a long time, because it takes a very high round count for your firing pin to, for the area where your firing pin is to get gunked up and protrude forward and have a slam fire. That's what people talk about with SKS as being unreliable, and that they have slam fires and they'll keep firing till the gun's empty and it malfunctions, and it's because they didn't keep their gun clean. That's what it is. All right, so those are all the positives there. Now going on to the negatives. The first biggest negative got to be length. It is a very long setup, almost 40 to 44 inches. That's very long, even though it's still considered a carbine. The weight on this thing is kind of heavy when you compare it to an AR, but when a lot of people hang a lot of attachments on their guns, you know, the weight gets up there anyways. So this is 8.5 to 9 pounds bare bones stock. So that's something to consider. It's not exactly a light gun. Caliber between 223. A lot of people say that 223 is better than this caliber, you know, 7.62 by 39, because it's more prone to tear up the tissue when 223 enters the body. Well, the thing is, if 223, if your enemy is hiding behind something, 223 has to punch through that barrier to get them. Chances are that 223 is going to lose all of its energy trying to punch through and won't do any damage. The thing with this caliber is that it will punch through and still do damage to the person behind it, or the enemy behind it. Hopefully it's a bad guy. That's the other thing. If it's not a bad guy and you can inflict damage on a friendly, which you don't want to do either, or you know, someone who's not a bad person, whatever, in some other house further away, you don't want them to get hurt either. So that's something to consider as well. But I personally think that I'd rather have more power than not have enough power. So that's why I think 7.62 by 39 would be better, not 223, because of that sole reason. So that's something to consider though with 223 is, are you really concerned about the people in the area? Are there people going to be there, you know, in other houses? Then that's something you should really think about. And the common argument back to that is 223, you know, you're going to wait till they go into the open. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the bad guy is not going to, you know, he's not going to stand in the open for you to shoot him. He's going to be hiding. He's going to be trying to take cover, to take shots at you. So really think about that. And I didn't want to make this a caliber debate, so that's that. The next thing is that clips. These clips are slow. Yes, they are slower than magazines. That's a given. That's a guarantee. You know, that's what's going to happen. Very valid point, and I can't argue anything against that. All right, but I just want to show you my clip loading here. And this is you know, I've checked the rifle. It's completely empty. We're in a safe area where I can do this. It's perfectly fine. I don't recommend that anybody do this, and I'm going to be very safe about this anyways. What I'm going to do is load 10 rounds, and then I'm not going to release the bolt or anything. I'm going to drop it, and then close the magazine again, drop the magazine out, close it, and then load the next 10 and keep doing it till I lose, or till I've gone through all 30. So let's see how quick that goes. So that was my 30 rounds right there, and as you can see, it is slower than what you would say a mag change would be. Now, if you're concerned about 10 rounds versus 30 rounds, well, do you really need the 30 rounds, you know, or will 10 rounds get the job done? That's something you got to think about. Magazines, yes, this gun can take magazines, SKS specific mags. Some people will tell you they had a really good experience with them. Some people will say that they're not as good. Do some research, check it out, and see what you like. Now, I'm going to personally tell you that this gun was designed to be like this. Keep it like this. It will work, it will function every time if you keep it as is. I know if you do have the 20 round and 30 round magazine, you can still use the clip to load that same magazine up as well. So think about that if you are considering magazines. It is not a common carbine, so you're not gonna, or not a common rifle, so you're not gonna find that many parts for it. At least people are not gonna have it all the time. That is also a negative. It's something you really got to think about when picking your rifle. So that's the last thing I had for a negative. If there's any other negatives or positives that you guys can think of or that I forgot, please leave them in the comments below for other people to see. It's very important that you do that, because the whole point is to put out some information for other people to see and whatnot. Now, my personal opinion about this whole thing here is that I actually think the SKS is a really good choice. You can also add on some stuff. There's aftermarket features. This one here has a collapsible stock. It's a side folding stock. Brings it to 30 inches overall. Has a muzzle brake, a 74 style clamp-on muzzle brake, which is okay, good, you know, good for plinking. Got a bipod on it, which I think is really good. That will help a lot. And in this closed configuration, you're still at about 32 inches, 31 inches overall length. So you're still legal. That's actually one more thing I want to bring up. The fixed 10 round magazine is also good for banned states where you cannot have high cap magazines. At least with this gun, you have that. You don't have a bullet button, and you still have a clip feeding mechanism, so it's still quicker. But a lot of people are going to argue, and post SHTF, does the law really matter, and are you going to abide by the law afterwards? That's for you to decide. So, you know, just want to go over that I got that there. Got a laser as well, because this right now is sitting as our home defense rifle. In our area where we live, we can do this. We can pick a rifle of this caliber according to the environment we're in. And that's the last thing I'm going to leave you off with. Look at your environment, look out the window, see what's around you, and see if this would fit your bill. All right, guys? So that's all I had to show you guys today, and that's all I want to talk about. Again, comments and questions, please leave them below, and I'll talk to you guys next time. V8 Merc signing out.